Alright, I did a quick reset. Don't know if everyone might not be back yet, so. I'll just wait a second to see if everything's back to normal. If everyone can hear my voice again. Like I said, I'm not sure why it just died or when it died. Okay, so basically I can hear YouTube works. All right, well, I guess I'll have to stop the stream here then I if none of the volume is happening on Twitch, because YouTube's there just to have it there. Not really the main where people watch me, so. So yeah, I guess I'll just ask one more time if anyone can still hear me. If they can't, I'll just end here and have to pick this up again. Okay, you can hear it again. All right, that's good. Yeah, the sound. I went back and checked the YouTube VOD. Sound never died on YouTube, but it only died on Twitch, I guess, because I didn't change any other settings. I just turned the stream off and on again, and it took a bit, but if anyone can hear me now, okay. All right, well, I'm going to continue a bit. Whatever the case, it is important to note that it was wrong to guess whether Yasunaga-kun was a wolf based on this alone. Kaori Oribe was a messed up mental state that led to her plot, the deaths of herself and everyone else just to save her son. It was simply the immense power of motherly love at work. I'd mess it up by sending Hara-chan to the second floor. Kaori-san probably resented me for that. Not to mention I was the one who pinned her down. Being the target of a dead person's enmity was a rare experience, and in my opinion, it was uncomfortable. Turns out I couldn't follow your example. My example? Yeah, I tried to think and did stuff, but, well... Was I a bad influence on her? Well, carefully liberating her actions was never a bad thing, obviously. Also, it was worth noting she pointed out that Yasunaga-kun trying to guilt-trip her wasn't like him. Her own intuition was important too. Besides him, there was Tei-san, who believed nothing but the superstitious, Hara-chan, who always agreed with Yasunaga-kun, and Miko, the one who sealed Kaori-san's fate. Everyone is suspicious. Yeah, that's why I don't care who it is anymore. Kemi hung her head. I've decided to help Miko-chan. How? By running away with her? I'm telling you, it's pointless. It's better than just sitting around waiting for death, isn't it? And if she turns out to be a wolf, you'll be down one. Lucky day, huh? Would it be? I don't know anymore.
I killed someone.
She said it casually, but I could tell this was hard for her to say. It's not your fault. I responded equally casually. I felt like breaking the illusion would be a bit too much to handle.
Wow, it's like you don't care at all.
But you were against it, weren't you?
Not stopping the murder makes me a partner in crime, doesn't it?
I'm the same in that regard.
Oh, right.
Also, the law would understand that you made the wrong decisions because of the circumstances.
Law, huh?
Well, being punished under a proper rule of law is infinitely better than being punished by some sort of weird laws of some mountain. Or what, you want to die a supernatural death? No dice, huh?
Yeah.
Man, this was complicated. Is it God's fault?
Half of it, yeah.
But you can't explain the other half?
Right.
Then talk about God, at least.
How do I put this? God is misfortune. Well, I don't mean that literally. It's just that it's because of God that we can't attain happiness.
Is God visible?
Yeah, we've all seen it, but its true form might be invisible.
Let me ask about your visible part. Is it human? Though slow and hesitantly, she gave me a light nod. Is it someone from Yasumizu? Silence. Neither yes nor no. Then, is it someone from the Kum Fujiyoshi? She kept her silence. Her shoulders were shaking a bit. Then...
No, no, no! It's not human. You can deal with humans, but God is beyond them.
Shit, I knew it would go like this. Come down and explain, otherwise we'll both be killed.
Fine. I just want to watch the nightmare be over with already. Hey, Haruki-san, kill me. If it's your hands, I think I can really die.
What are you saying? Get over yourself.
I am. I'm not corrupted. I'm not insane. I'm not. It's Fujiyoshi that's crazy. It's God that's crazy.
Is God some state of being? I just kind of blurted out something without thinking. Kimi was clearly in a state of panic. The despair was one cause, but someone panicked like this couldn't explain themselves properly. Also, I didn't feel like this was simply some spiritual being she could see. She could perceive God as a sensation of sorts, but the fact others couldn't cause her to panic. Explaining a scene like that wasn't easy. A sense like that wasn't easy, but trying to explain in detail was also a reminder of how much it scared her. I had to try to understand what she was sensing and find a better word for it than God. That was what I thought to myself after saying those words, but why did she suddenly go quiet? She was raising her head and her eyes were wide, staring right at me. She completely stopped voicing her pain. Did I hit the nail on the head? As I considered that possibility, I felt a cold, damp breeze from behind me. She wasn't staring at me. She was staring at something behind me. I turned around, following the direction of her eyes. How long had the front door been open? I had forgotten to lock the door. Ah! And how long had that thing been there? There was a person outside. Was it even human? Through the darkness, I could see that it definitely had a humanoid silhouette, but it was definitely abnormal. Its body was covered in bandages. No, sutras? It was a smallish boy or girl covered in marked cloth. Again, was it even human? I asked the same question again, unable to even voice the words. I couldn't move a finger, or rather, I didn't, because I had no idea what would have happened if I did. As the tension began to overwhelm me, I saw its lips move. The wolves cometh. To the smell of Yomi. Cleanse, shelter, and dream. Daughter of Fujiyoshi. A howl. I heard something fall. Turned back around, I realized it was Kemi. Kemi? Still confused, I rushed over and caught her. It was a momentary loss of consciousness. She hadn't fainted. She just seemed to be drifting at the border of reality. Hey, wake up.
Why am I here?
What was that thing?
What fin? Weird. I'm so sleepy. Sorry, I'm going back.
Kemi stood up. Her eyes were utterly devoid of life. She headed to the door. It was closed. There was no one there. Okay, this is definitely making me think that she's a wolf. Because if she didn't go to sleep, then whatever it is that she could have done, she wouldn't have been able to do it. Because the way this feels is like you're supposed to be asleep before you get possessed by whatever. So maybe that's what she means. Like, you're the wolf, but you get possessed by something. So it's not you doing it. It's just you kind of remembering you're doing it, maybe. And then just can't talk about it. Or you just don't. Or nobody knows if they're actually a wolf or not. Because it's all sleepwalking bullshit. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I set that matter aside for now. Kemi was way more important. I had to stop her. That was why I'll take you out of here. Wrap my arms around her. If you want to throw away your life, give it to me. Tomorrow morning, I'll take you and Miko and leave this place.
You and Miko? Not just you?
That was her first response in a while. Well, you entrusted her to me. I'll honor the trust you showed me until the end.
Man of integrity, huh?
You noticed? Well, there's also the fact that I'm not just too keen on letting a child die.
You've dropped the tough guy act, Haruki-san. Also, when did you drop the honorific?
You don't like it?
I don't mind. It's just, shouldn't there be a transition point of these kinds of things?
Go out with me.
Sure.
So, let's get out of here.
Okay. Just so you know, I'm only saying that because I don't mind dying with you. Sorry, but Miko-chan's barely a blip on my radar.
That's not very responsible, is it?
Kemi-san is a girl with many brain problems, so she prefers to rely on people older than her.
Leave it to me. Also, we're taking anyone who wishes to join us.
What? I'm not getting some special treatment here?
You are. The others have a choice. But now that we're dating, I'm taking you whether you like it or not.
Not sure I'm happy about that one.
Did you know I'm actually not a very popular guy?
Haruki-san. Thanks.
Her cheery voice compelled me to embrace her.
If I'm killed by the wolves tonight,
Don't say that.
I don't care what. Take a part of me outside.
Don't worry.
I'm scared.
I'm right here. I'm here for you. It hurt to say baseless things. Even so, I kept on saying whatever I could to make her feel better. We went on for nearly 10 or so minutes, though. Even if the wolves didn't pay us a visit, we'd have to respect the rules of living here. We awkwardly exchanged some parting words, and I saw her off as she returned to her room, her parting ways with a frail smile on her damp face. He'd be like, yeah, nah, fuck everybody. I'm not part of the game. No one can hurt me. I'm going to hide in a corner here. Nobody fuck around. Tomorrow. Everything would be decided tomorrow. $5:16. Another morning. Aside from being really hungry, I woke up the same as always. I hadn't died. The only real difference this morning was that I could go outside as I pleased. It was still misty out, and I couldn't see much beyond the dorm. A settlement isolated in mist. A space cut away from the world. Could we really leave this place? We could. It had to be physically possible. The idea that we couldn't was just speculation, no matter how much this place defied reality. What was that thing? Why did Kemi collapse? How sane were we? Was this even really happening? Human senses and memories often lied to us, though just dismissing anything that didn't make sense as an illusion wasn't a good idea. That thing had actually visited us. Its appearance was strange, but I had little proof that it was something supernatural. So my idea for this one would be, is this Mochi? Or something like that? Or is this a brand new person? Or was this Rikako doing a thing? Or was this an extra person? Dun dun dun. The 13th student. Thus, that had to be human. As for the reason Kemi collapsed, there were quite a few possibilities. Unless it was a trick she'd schemed up with that thing beforehand. That being had to have been too much for her to handle emotionally. What did the thing say again? The wolves cometh to the smell of Yomi. Cleanse, shelter, and dream. Daughter of Fujiyoshi, was it? It basically seemed like a fancy way of saying, get back to your room and sleep. So it was a warning from those who made the rules. Then, was that something on the mountain? Great Lord Chennai's side? No, to be honest. I'd say it was more like something from the other side. I mean, it kind of fit my image of Yomabito. It wore sutras in place of clothing, and the cloth over its face reminded me of a funeral shroud. The word corruption seemed particularly fitting, and it had really sinister aura, to me anyway. Though, that was strange. Great Lord Chennai was the enemy of the forces from Yomi. Yomabito wouldn't act as his messengers. This contradiction was quite eerie, and alluring unknown. But that didn't matter now. My goal was to let Kemi and any supporters we gathered escape. I returned to the room, made my futon, and started searching again. The futon was the only thing in the closet. There was nothing I could use as a weapon. I gave up. I left the room and went to Kemi's. If the worst had come to pass, I had to fulfill her last request. The door was locked. I knew it. So the wolf was... I knocked. She came out after a few seconds. Apparently, she was all ready to go. I want a weapon. I figured. She gave me a pretty large knife and with a sheath, probably used for hunting. Got anything for yourself? I lost my kitchen knife, so you'll have to protect... You lost the kitchen knife? You mean the thing that you gutted Mochi and the old man with? Sure. I had zero confidence in pulling it off, but sometimes bravado was important to hold on to. We went to Haru-chan's room. It wasn't locked. The room was no bigger than the others, but it was a huge mess. But it didn't look like there was a corpse present. She'd either already woken up and went outside without locking the door, or the corpse was somewhere outside, like Yoshigitsu-kun. I gained a habit of expecting the worst. What about Yasunaga-kun? The same. Let's check on Miko. Today's mist was denser than usual. Just extending my arm was enough to make my hand hazy and indistinct. I kept on walking, knife in my right hand and Kemi's hand in my left. The settlement was way too quiet. We headed for the village plaza. I almost tripped a few times in the field paths, but Kemi kept me on my feet with just a few warnings. I could keep going as long as she was with me. We arrived at the plaza. There was no one there. Basically, there was no need to use the dining hall as a go-to gathering spot anymore. We passed Rikaku Yomatsu's house. It didn't look unlocked, but I couldn't hear any indications of movement from inside. Was she asleep? Or did something happen to her? Whatever the case, I had no choice but to ignore her. It was here, right?
Yeah.
Miko's place was... open? We arrived at the pizza, and it was delicious. Thankfully, all I found inside was just a messy futon. It was the same as Haruchan's room. But, now that it happened with 3 people, it was safe to assume something wasn't right. Kemi, sorry, but you can have this back.
Huh?
I gave her the knife, and grabbed a stick lying against the house.
What's wrong?
I need a weapon I can actually use. That aside, where do we go next?
The hall, right?
As it turned out, that was exactly where the other inhabitants were. With the exception of one, anyway.
You're late. Or maybe we're early?
Haru Makishima. She was her usual agitated state. Tei Yamikawa. She was silently chanting something to herself. Miko. Haru, and had her hands on her shoulders. But she still looked anxious. And finally, good morning, Chide, and Haruki Fusashi-san. Yasunaga Orabi, his face was grim. Those are all the people here, meaning that...
So they finally got Nasato-san, huh?
A simple process of elimination was enough to know who was gone. Anyway, it was time for the first battle. Miko, come here. She tried to walk to us.
No!
But Haru Makishima stopped her. It was time. I raised my stick and...
Huh?
So you finally revealed your true colors, Fusashi-san. Yasunaga Orobe stood in my way. He had a menacing-looking grass sickle in his right hand. He readied it for a swing at me. You're the cause of all the misery here, so it ends. So I knew it would come down to the pure strength.
No way, huh? What?
You were tricked. He's the one who caused all this. Not letting him join the feast was a mistake. If we hanged him, Bob, Yoshigitsu, and everyone here would still be alive.
Wait, that's...
We'll hang him today. That will end everything. Yasunaga-kun, you shouldn't try to advance the situation based on a story no one knows.
What about you? Why did you try to attack?
Oh, good point. I'll tell you. I want to take back the hostage.
But that's...
Well, before that, let me just help Kemi-san understand. Look how confused she is.
Huh? What?
They didn't say another word. Kemi and Miko were the only ones who seemed confused at all. Basically, the others had prepared for this. Ignoring who's a wolf here, there's two important things you gotta keep in mind. First, yesterday I told Miko that I wanted to escape the settlement with her. It's best to assume everyone heard that. Escaping the village is taboo. I know that. The question is, whether letting someone escape makes you a target of the corruption. That's why you secured Miko first thing in the morning, and I can totally understand that. The other thing is that Kemi and Yasunaga-kun ended up on opposing sides yesterday. Owing to that, today's feast would be a one-on-one between them. Since Haru-chan would almost always take Yasunaga's side, he'd have an advantage. But with Tei-san and Miko as swing votes, his victory wasn't guaranteed. That's why I decided that reconciling with Kemi and doing after the only outsider here was the safest way, right? You're wrong. I'm not. That's why you took Miko as a hostage. You want me silenced. No, I just thought you'd take her as a hostage and ask her to do horrible things. What I would gain from that? I mean, I'm not part of the feast. You agreed at it yourself, didn't you? That was a mistake. If it's not you, then who else could be the cause of everything here? Jen and I lost family. Teiba lost Takumi-san. We all lost people important to us. And who didn't lose anything? Only you, Haruki Fusashi-san. Oh. That was the story, huh? Sorry, Yasunaga-kun, but you're a bad storyteller. You seem to have a habit of putting up a wall of well-spoken words when lying or putting on an act. Please stop messing around. Oh, but I'm not. Yasunaga-kun, you're trying way too hard to manipulate people using their emotions. You also underestimate Kemi by thinking you can just use that as a smokescreen for the holes in your story. Well, from an emotional standpoint, blaming me for everything is definitely the easiest way. But on the other hand, you're selling yourself short. You're calm, cool, collected, the type of guy who argues against an absurdity with facts and logic. Ah, a Shapiro type. Please stop the pointless analysis. Well, that's something for the villagers to decide, not me. They're the ones who watched you for years. Of course, I understand you went through something difficult enough to change you. Then, let me ask you this. Are you blaming everything on an outsider because you've lost your own emotions? Or are you actually acting rationally to make sure you hang me and waste today's feast so you tip the scales in your favor? As in, are you saying who'd benefit from wasting today's lynching? What do you think, Kemi? She gasped and looked at Orinaga Orobe. There was suspicion in her eyes, not trust. You could have just said that I was a wolf. Yet you didn't. Yet you did. You just said that I'm the cause of all this because you're a wolf yourself. Oh no, you could have said, because you're a wolf yourself. You hate lying, don't you? You know when the chips are down, you have to commit to the lie. GNA, you're gonna believe him? Making an emotional appeal in the face of a cold logic is a bad move here. You need to fight logic with logic until the end. Shut up! What do you know? You just wasted time not doing anything because you couldn't. You had a point there. I did feel like shit about that. I should have joined the feast from the get-go. If I had, I wouldn't have wasted time on pointless arguments and autopsies. However, you know, right here is a guy who can think for himself, but just played along with some dumb superstition, letting both his brothers and mother die. As an adult, I'm really mad at him, Yasunaga-kun. Once I said that, Yasunaga Orobe hung his head and fell silent. 10 seconds of silence were enough for everyone to realize he'd lost the argument. However, the expression on his face was abnormally calm. True, I really am a wolf. He spoke as if it wasn't a big deal. But you are misunderstanding a few things. But that just made it seem more abnormal. We've already won. He tossed away the grass sickle. His voice wasn't nearly as passionate as before. It was cold and rational. He demonstrated a confidence rooted in sound logic. But I couldn't understand what he meant. Other wolf, please reveal yourself. What was the point of that?
Hey, I was right with the old lady. Hey. Are you sure, Yasu-kun?
Yes, that's enough.
I'm the other wolf. All right, well, I got 50% right, if this isn't bullshit.
I couldn't make sense of this. He had decided to graciously concede by selling out his partner that he'd been cornered? No. He said he had already won. Even if there were 2 wolves, there were 4 of us. They'd lose in votes. My answer came from a completely unexpected direction.
Ni-chan, you and Teba really are the wolves?
A shout of pure, unadulterated joy. Haru Makushima became the least comprehensible of anyone present. She ran to Yasunaga Oribe and hugged him. She hesitated for a moment, but reciprocated. Miko, so as clueless as ever, slowly walked over to us.
Oni-chan.
I'm sorry, hide behind Kemi.
Haruki-san, what is this?
I don't know. I really didn't. But I had a feeling that something wasn't quite right for a while now, and I suspected it to be made clear now. I was certain of it, and I left the feeling uneasy. Okay, you have the initiative here. Can you explain? Deba, you'll do it.
Fine. I've been relying too much on you all this time.
So she wasn't even denying it.
Chi-chan, Miko-chan.
Not me.
This is something I never told you. A long time ago, when I was still a girl, Kamifujiyoshi's people got drunk and revealed the truth behind the feast of the Yomi Purge.
The truth? Tei Yamakawa told a story that was very similar to the legend they told in their strange village. Well, it was less like it was similar, and more like I was looking at it from the opposite angle. The part about the Great Lord Shinai sending the 5 guardians to help people was the same. 4 of them had teamed up with the humans to murder the wolves. However, in the real story, the good and bad sides were completely reversed. Apparently, the people and the 4 guardians joined Yomi on the very first feast of the Yomi Purge. Basically, all of them were Yomibito. They all ganged up on and overpowered the expulsed the wolves, who tried to resist until the very end. This meant this land had belonged to the Yomibito for a long time. The wolves were summoned here by none other than Shinai-sama himself. Some people of Yasumizu were given the blessing of the wolves and had to free Yoshimitsu of its Yomibito. Basically, it was a holy war for them, and that was the truth behind the feast of the Yomi Purge. So, one side says that the wolves came to kill us all, and to help us, Yomibito gave us the guardians so that we could find the wolves so we wouldn't die. And this way the legend says the wolves were originally kicked out of town, and they were given the ability to kill the others to try to come back and take revenge? 1 second. And had to free Yoshimitsu of the Yomibito. Tei Yamakawa continued her explanation. So right now you have 2 people different saying, I'm the hero, and then you have the other side saying, no, we're technically the heroes.
At first, we thought the people of Kamifujiyoshi just made it up to make fun of us. But we found out it was true when we became blessed by Shinai-sama himself. So you see, Chi-chan, that's why we had to slay everyone. It hurt a lot, though. Takumi suffered greatly, too. But we had to do it to save the Yamibito. That's what Shinai-sama said.
Tei Kamisawa was crying. All right. So she was now a confirmed culprit who believed the murders to be salvation. There was just 2 more points I didn't understand. The corruption and the eerie message. Most things made sense if you switched Shinai-sama's enemies and allies. The idea that people wearing those outfits could be the good guys was kind of weird, but, well, that was the culture here. So I guess they're saying that all the other people are supposed to go crazy in the village, which is why the wolves are killing them. The priestess lady and the mother were going to be assumed by corruption, and other people were just killed by corruption anyway? Huh. I'm not sure. Maybe this explains a bit better. I'm not too sure on it still, though. The people wearing these outfits could be the good guys was kind of weird, but, well, because it's culture here. Or maybe only the Yomibito, me too, saw them as evil? Maybe that was the staying here? The problem here was that
I didn't know that.
Kemi didn't know this. Well, he found out when I was blessed. So even Yasunaga-kun didn't know about it. I remembered some of his words. This is just something I heard from a teacher at school, but you could do it by giving them something to fight for, couldn't you? Basically, you need to make them think they're doing it for the right thing. He really hated lies, didn't he? He basically told me the truth of things. This feast actually had a system that made zealous murderers of people. Whatever. Enough about Yasunaga Oribe. Then why did Haru-chan know? She was glad when she realized Yasunaga Oribe was a wolf. Basically, she already knew the real story, that the wolves were the good guys. Why? Who told her?
The Okami-sama told me. They showed up in my dreams the day Oji-chan died and told me about it.
Oh, so wrong one. Oji-chan told me they showed up in the day of my what's name died and told me about it. Nonsense. Insanity. Did she seriously decide to throw her life away over a dream? But on the day of Ji-chan died, he died the night before Haru-chan tried to run away from the settlement. She believed the dream. She started to despair over being surrounded by Yomibito and planned to escape. That made sense. But I think that Teba would know the real story. There was no way she couldn't. But she didn't say it, so I thought that maybe she was a wolf. And I began to think the same thing about Ni-chan when we talked. And it all clicked. She believed. She believed the sudden revelation, despite the lack of proof, and that the man she liked was in the minority that would have justice on their side. And right now, she said she would betray the humans and join the wolves. She believed Yasunaga Oribe was right with all her heart. And so, the wolf, Yasunaga Oribe, had 3 votes for the feast. I can't be killed even if Chiide and Miko both vote for me. Even if you bend the rules and count Fushiashi-san's vote, it'd still be just 3. You couldn't choose one even if we did a final vote. And now without either wolf dying, we win. It was easy. I saw it clearly now. I understood.
Haruki-san, is he?
Yeah. Yes, Naga-kun is right. No, we lose. Everyone had different reactions to my words. Kemi backed away and gasped. Hey, thanks for renewing the Prime sub. Did it just pop up for you? Thank you, VC, for sure. Tei Yamakawa closed her eyes and sighed. Miko didn't seem to understand anything. Yasunaga Oribe didn't react at all. Haru Makashima was smiling. Oh man. All I really had left was struggling like the filthy, annoying adult I was. Haru-chan.
What? Oh, Ni-chan. What will happen to Fushiashi-san?
I'll ignore him if he doesn't interfere.
I see.
Was that relief just now? Sorry, but I couldn't enjoy my sudden jump in popularity.
We don't have to slay him?
Shidai-sama would do something if need be. That the passionate tone did much to convince me he truly believed this ridiculous superstition. But you won't ignore this, will you? Who knows? Honestly, if you're the good guys, I don't know if I should help the Yamabito side.
Haruki-san?
You're crueler than I thought. We city folk value a well-reasoned argument. I want to say I misjudged you. It's the right decision. Very right, in fact. Big words.
Hey, what the hell? You said you liked Chine, didn't you? And now you're gonna abandon her?
Good point. Well, yeah. I was pretty damn cold-blooded. I'm not too fond of being hit where it hurts, so I guess I'll respond. Haru-chan?
What?
You know you're gonna die, right? You're okay with that?
Huh?
This was pretty damn bad, honestly. Apparently, this great Lord Shania was a huge scumbag. You should have told her that much. Even if you've been told the real story, you're still a human. You haven't become a wolf, have you? You didn't kill Takumi-san or Nasato-san, right?
I didn't.
I don't know why, but you're just a human who knows the real story. That's why the human's defeat will mean your death. You said that you thought Yasunaga-kun might have been a wolf when you talked together, right? I don't think you would ever let anything like that slip, so he probably realized your role from the way you were acting. He was probably trying to lead you by showing hints, but not revealing his identity, in order to test whether you join him. The wolves probably knew there was a human who had that role. What of it? He actually said that. This was the part where he was supposed to start lying. By not denying that, you basically admitted you were an absolute scumbag who used Haru-chan knowing you'd have to kill her. He was that bad at lying? Then how did he survive so long? Wait. Something was very wrong. I'd seriously misunderstood something here. And soon enough, my hunch was proven right.
Seriously? What of it?
Haru-chan. Haru Makishima's voice was brimming with joy. A carefree smile, laced with seductive intoxication.
Yummy Bito need to be hung. We're corrupt, filthy, and disgusting. We can only be saved by the wolves, whirls, and claws. Everyone knows that. That's why you finished off Kaori-san, right? You wanted to make your mother happy?
Yeah, exactly.
Nii-chan, make me happy too.
Haru Makishima coyishly leaned onto him. Yasunaga Oribe brought her closer without even a flicker of emotion crossing his face. Tai Yamakawa watched them with a broad smile. What? What the hell? Who were these people? So, Chiade, what will you do? If you listen to me, I'll save you. I underestimated it. I underestimated the madness of Yasumizu, and I realized too late that the Feast of the Yomi Purge wasn't just a system where zealous murderers killed each other. There was something here that completely shattered the people on a fundamental level. It was like a gear of madness. Those who knew the real story found salvation in death. That insane tale instantly convinced people that it was right to agree and to find peace in that. And I was actually surrounded by these very people. Understanding that made me remember that she was from here too. Kemi was trying to take a step forward. I should have realized this earlier. She who was afraid of God was just like them, who accepted their salvation. Both brands of madness probably had roots in the exact same thing, so she was just as susceptible to the madness as they were. However, it wasn't too late for her. Yasunaga Oribe's expression stayed the same. But right before I looked away from him, I saw a slight chance. It was bitterness, irritation, something out of place in the victor's face that made me realize that his plan for this scene wasn't lost to madness. Then I had no choice but to take advantage of the opportunity. I grabbed Kemi's hand and pulled with so much force that she fell on her backside, but I didn't care. I dashed past her and swung my weapon at Yasunaga Oribe. I hit Haru Makishima once, Tai Yamakawa twice, and Yasunaga Oribe 5 or 6 times. Then I ran to Kemi and Miko, and were completely dumbfounded and fled the hall. There was no time to waste. I had to hurry up and escape. If I didn't, I'd waste the one chance he'd given me.
Haruki-san, what are you doing? What's going on?
Hey, Kemi!
What?
Yasunaga-kun really has a good head on his shoulders, doesn't he?
What are you talking about? Ah, my hand hurts. It'll fall.
I was probably irritated not just because of hunger. It was because of the epiphany I'd had, and because I had taken me so long to reach it. Yasunaga Oribe had a different motive. You have a crush on Kemi Sarazawa, so you didn't want to hurt her if no one else. If you used that little reason you had to conclude that the only way to save her was to escape, but letting someone escape would be subjecting everyone else to the corruption. So you had to have me beat up everyone and take her by force to avoid that. Shit. If he hadn't intended to let me run away, he wouldn't have thrown away the sickle. He was basically signaling me to understand and finally attack him. In the end, he was more clever than me. I never stopped dancing to his tune. Exactly because of that, I had to help these two escape no matter what. After all, I'm an adult. By the way, using an adult without realizing on one yourself was a very adult thing to do, Yasunaga Orobe. Good luck with the rest. We crossed the field paths, went past the stone graves, and over the boundary. Descending the cliff took a lot of practice. I didn't seem like they were chasing us, so we could go down carefully. Kemi's expression was dead. She'd been hit hard by a sudden revelation. The game board had been flipped upon her. She'd lost, and now she had to suddenly say goodbye to her old friends. It was hard to just laugh that off. I need some water. Should I have told her about Yasunaga-kun's intentions? I did consider it, but couldn't bring myself to. He chose to save her by sacrificing their relationship. If he knew, she'd probably want to go back to the settlement. Or maybe I just didn't want to say it because of my pride as a man. That was fine by me, too. Being able to shrug off such unfairness was one of the blessings of adulthood. So I consoled Kemi, shouted to Miko to be more careful, and generally talked as much as I could. The mist grew even denser. Hey, Kemi. I think we're already outside the village.
Maybe.
We did it, and look, nothing happened.
We did?
Yep. Now let's cross the river and return to town.
Where's the river?
I couldn't see anything. I hadn't just lost my bearings. It was worse than that. I couldn't even see Kemi or Miko's faces, and I was actually holding their hands. We were already at the bottom of the cliff, walking on the stones below. We heard water, so it was clear that we were close to the river. But I didn't know if we could keep going, not now, right now. Let's rest.
We can't.
Kemi. I thought she was going to freak out again, but...
No, that's not it.
She stopped me.
Don't you hear it? Ignore the water.
Confused, I strained my ears. What am I supposed to hear?
Woof, woof. They're coming after us.
They were acting strange. I strained my ears again. Was it above us? I could hear the faint sound of rustling leaves from atop the cliff.
We gotta run. I'm tired. Haruki-san, take Miko-chan.
The intensity of Kemi's voice made me take the situation seriously. What if the sand was just the wind, though? She was jumping at shadows. But I would have been lying if I said I wasn't worried. After all, a question remained unanswered. And according to the legend, this was their HQ. Wait, they were the good guys, right? Still, this wasn't a normal place. I had to get out of here ASAP. After a while, I was forced to recognize the anomaly. We couldn't reach the river. I ran along the riverbed. It should have been small, just a few meters wide. But even after 2 minutes of running, there was no sign of the river. We couldn't get anywhere. It was just like ring wandering, a phenomenon where people wandering snowy peaks lose their sense of direction and just end up walking in circles. However, even if my sight was limited, how could anyone get lost in such a small riverbed? I could hear the stream right next to me. This felt so wrong. I was as good as blind. All I could trust were my ears, and that made me realize how useless that was to rely on. I trusted my sense of direction less with every passing second. So, the sound of parting grass in the distance, the sound of claws stepping on the rocks. I felt like they were getting closer. I couldn't be certain. And eventually, we slowed down. The others didn't say anything, but they were clearly exhausted. We hadn't eaten for days. Not to mention the dense mist made our clothes all uncomfortably damp and cold. We walked along the riverbed without uttering a single word. The sound of water wasn't getting closer, but something else sure was. Something. Things I didn't know scared me. The chill and the fear strangled me like we were rope when I carried Miko, passed out from exhaustion on my back. How long has this been like this? Suddenly, the hand I was dragging became heavier. Kemi had stopped.
Araki-san.
She called my name through the mist. What? I tried to sound lighthearted, but I wasn't confident I pulled it off.
We're done for.
Her voice suggested the image of a grim smile. What are you saying? Unlike before, I couldn't manage the defiant tone I'd use whenever she said something stupid. It was true that something unnatural was happening, but there was no simple explanation. And Kemi was wearing down both physically and emotionally. Let's rest a bit. We'll get through this if it's just a bit further. Don't worry.
No. It's impossible.
Why?
I think you can't get past this river as long as I'm with you.
What?
That was like... You heard what they said. We're the Yamabito, so...
So you're not worthy of crossing or something?
I mean, I've been eating Yasumizu's food since I was a little girl. And I'm corrupted.
Kemi!
Don't look at me!
I turned around and pulled her by the arm. I looked at the face from point-blank range. It was covered in brown and yellow blisters. Before I could even be surprised or disgusted, I just kissed her. The sugary taste of blood, pus, and rust filled my mouth and spread throughout my throat. I didn't care. Then, to discard all unnecessary emotions, I hugged her as hard as I could. My breathing and thought ceased. I kept it up until the pain began to fade, then disappeared completely. Eventually, our lips were separated again. She prioritized words over breaths.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Even so, I hugged her tight. I couldn't lose to something so ridiculous. She weakly hugged me back, but she couldn't keep it up for long. Let's go.
I'm telling you that...
Let's go. The presence of the distance was definitely closing in. We walked. I felt like I'd been walking for several hours now. Our pursuers were close, but I had no intention of rushing. Kemi was slowly but surely getting weaker by the second. Her speed slackened with each step, and the weight on my arms was becoming heavier. I could hear her cough and vomit something out. She apologized every time she did, and I basically replied with, "It's alright," using different words every time. We walked. Kemi's feet began to make wet sounds with every step. We walked. Maybe we'd actually been in here for only a few minutes. We walked. Kemi kept apologizing. Maybe we haven't even moved a single meter. We walked. Maybe none of this was real. Then, maybe nothing had happened here would be weird. Eventually, Kemi called out with me with a hoarse voice.
Araki-san.
The fact that she said something different had sparked a movement of baseless hope. And so,
Thank you.
her gratitude was followed by another wet sound.
I had fun.
With those final words, her weight vanished. It was strange. After all, I was still holding her hand. Or, rather, only her hand. With a splash, her body fluid spread around, while her limbs and entrails just collapsed. Kemi was gone, leaving behind only her rotting hand. Perhaps her remains were piling up in the mist ahead. I had a strange certainty I couldn't touch it ever again. Was this what they called the Yamabito? I couldn't accept this, no matter what.
I don't care what. Take a part of me outside.
I put the hand in my jacket pocket. I took Miko, still sleeping, and shifted my grip to make carrying her easier. I continued walking. For too long. Miko woke up. She was shocked that Kemi was gone and cried for a bit, but then said she wanted to walk by herself, so I put her down on the ground. The very next moment, she was dragged into the mist. It was clearly a malicious force that did that. To me, it looked like a furry arm. A scream resounded. It was an inhuman, animalistic scream. After hesitating for a moment, I turned to run and caught a glimpse of something beastly within the mist Miko had disappeared into. I ran. I ran so far away. I ran all night and day, and ran. Suddenly, I felt myself step into something wet. I had arrived at the river. It was meaningless. I lost everything. And in the end, only I survived.
I don't care what. Take a part of me outside.
So my real question then is, why when we tried to run the first time did we just die? Did we just die because we went the wrong way? Or what made, like, if we're not part of the game, why were we stopped? We should just have been able to escape. If we weren't stopped this time. Because we didn't have anybody with us last time. We just left by ourselves. Kemi got Miko killed, yeah. Also, what would have happened if we didn't let her walk? If we just kept her in our arms, would we just have gotten out of there? Anyway. No. The meaning was for me to find. That was why I had to survive and find the forest. Yeah. I still had that hope back then. They finally broke through the mist and showed themselves. Oh. Of course. This really was hell, wasn't it? This wasn't the human realm or nirvana. It was a river of hell. So of course both sides of it were going to be hell. There was no splash when they threw Takumi-san's body in, was there? The moment we went into the mist and down the cliff, our bodies vanished from the world and reached a place from which there was no return. And I finally had no choice but to accept it. As someone who had taken the flesh and blood of a Yomobito, Kemi, I couldn't escape either. That was why I screamed stupidly, only managing to run a few steps before their sinister claws tore me apart. Damn it. Where had I gone wrong? Descending into the Saranaga? Not believing Kemi when she told me we couldn't escape? No, it went back even earlier than that. I already knew the answer. Ah, shit. I really wish I'd been part of Yasumizu and participated in the feast of the Yomi Purge. Maybe I could have gone a different ending than this. Alright, well, I assume I have all the keys now then. That was the last thought that went through my mind before it all faded away. Yeah, okay. Alright, cool. Okay, so now assumably we have all the keys where we go back to the one thing. Either the kiss or the fact that we had the hand still made us count. But maybe because maybe we technically consumed a piece of it in the kiss. We got some blood and other shit in our mouth. Whirls and claws. Oh no, we've only gotten one key. So there's a whole bunch of... Alright, so there definitely is a separate path where we get even more keys as well. Alright. You can view the key list. Okay. Ending number 1. Watch hint corner? Sure. Even though it doesn't really tell me much every time, but...
Hey, Chief, congratulations, Sword Order. You're now clear to Yomi, the first main route. Embrace the sense of accomplishment and lovey-dovey atmosphere. No, you're not in the mood for any of that? Well, it makes sense. Wasn't exactly a very happy ending. But keep your chin up. I'll help you find your way to a better ending. This one wasn't a bad ending, just an ending. Fun in the marshes with Chine. Since it wasn't a bad ending, I've got no advice for you. If you want to find a better ending, you need to find a way to proactively participate in the feat. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I know. I'll get there. Yeah, I know. It's fine. Yeah, because the only other ones that we had were... The only other choices that we have are the one at the very beginning, when we try to remember why we left. And then, the one where we need like 4 keys or something. When Kemi asked us, why was I at the river? I closed in the side of the road and killed the engine. It was steeper than I thought. My bike was on the verge of giving out, so I pushed down and deployed the kickstand. Well, I'm lost. Maybe taking a ride down an unknown road with no sat-nav on me wasn't such a good idea. I just followed the road, so I figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in some deep shit. No, cool it. This isn't a big deal. I sighed and took note of the fact that I had gotten lost in my pocket journal, and then pulled out a map. Suddenly, a rush of memories filtered into my mind. Remember incident. Right. How did I forget? I'd already experienced this looping phenomenon, whatever.
Hold on, looping? What the hell? There's no way something like that could. But if that wasn't it, what else could explain this? So I assume this route would be we become part of the ritual, and then we try to convince everybody to actually out the wolves without telling them, without getting the wolves to know that we are one of them and keeping ourselves safe. Because once we're part of the game, we can get killed. Even if we and no one's going to believe us if we tell everybody, yeah, those two are the wolves. Kill them now. So this is going to be us trying to convince everybody to make the right decisions without them knowing that I'm the one who has to die next. Or somehow keeping myself safe. How else could I, someone who died once, be alive right now? I had clear memories of getting caught in some strange incident in Yuzimizu and, shit, I couldn't remember how it ended. It was like last time too, my memories were all fragmented. But I did remember that I went to Yasumizu, met the people there, and died. Had I come back here when, or because I died? That was a ridiculous idea, but the pain and fear I felt back then was just so vivid and fresh in my mind that I couldn't simply dismiss it as a dream or illusion. There was no point in lying to myself. I was here having experienced something that made sure I died. It was an incomplete memory from the future. I had no idea why I had it, but I definitely did. I had to come to terms with it first and foremost. The gas tank wasn't empty, but my cell phone couldn't find a signal as it was running out of battery and my throat was a bit dry, exactly like last time. That meant that I was about to arrive at... Knew it. I really didn't want to meet that employee again, but from what I experienced, she was the only one I met before going to Fujiyoshi, so avoiding her probably wasn't a great idea. Her attitude was shit, but at least she always did what I asked, though I really didn't want to drive down an unpaved road again. Hey. Can't wait to find out that this is the mountain god who's just being a pain in the ass fucking at the convenience store. God damn it, that's what this is. Fuck you. Once again, she greeted her customer with a borderline insane way. It actually made me kind of relieved, and I wanted to believe that she was just some kind of trick of the mind. It was just like before. To her, I was just an annoying late-night customer. Oh well. I just buy what I wanted. I'll take these. Huh? Why you getting so much crap? No reason. Yasumizu was just desperately poor and it had me worried. That was a problem? I was the customer. With this much stuff, she had to use the register. Still grumbling, she started scanning the barcodes. Once she was alone, I paid and asked, I just want to get to the nearest settlement. Do you have a map I could look at? Huh? No, we don't. Please, I need it. Just wait. She went through the staff door. Found it. I knew it. This here's the store. Go to the north into the crossroads. You'll find the overpass soon enough. Cross it. And when you come to a fork next to a giant boulder, turn right and head straight. But that's just a forest, isn't it? I knew that it was. There wasn't even a paved road here. Why'd you recommend the road anyway? If I'd crashed and died, it'd be homicide by negligence. This is settlement. It's just not on the map. That wasn't a lie. It wasn't weird for Yasumizu to not be on the map. It was a nearly abandoned settlement in the middle of nowhere. Why did she know about it? Why did she live in Kamafujiyoshi or something? That sounds like it'd be bad for my bike. What about this place, Fujiyoshi? That's a 2-hour drive through a shitty mountain path. Can I write that down? Sure. Where's the other closest town? Past 2 mountains. Man, I couldn't make sense of the local distance measurements. I don't recommend going wild around these parts at night. Oh, actual consideration. Though it's hard to be grateful, she was the one who pointed me in the direction of that shitty road in the first place. Turning back takes courage too. Turning back, huh? I'll think about it. Thank you. Thanks for coming, or whatever. Oh, by the way, got any interesting local drinks? I didn't see any in the drink aisle. Well, then we don't have any. I just thought you might have something in the back. Like hell we would. Could you at least check? Just wait. Found it. Seriously? She brought me a 500cc bottle of black liquid inside. The The label looked written by hand and said Wild Plant Cola. I expected nothing and got something huge. This place was amazing. Oh, sorry. I got quite a lot of stuff. Do you have a rubber rope I could hang on so I could hang on to my bike so my bike could hold it all? This ain't a hardware store. I'd be happy if you just looked. Just wait. Found it. Seriously? Well, since we've come this far, I have a list here. Think you can see if you have anything on it? What the hell? You got a dish with or something? Are you saying you'd kill me? Please, I just want you to have a look. Wait here. Thanks. We had it all. What the hell is this place? Okay, she's definitely the god of the mountain, huh? A fucking kitchen sink. It felt like she was about to kill me, but I successfully came out with pretty much all I needed. Then I just made a run for it. I opened the wild plant cola. Looking up at the noisy light trap above, I took a sip. It was cool, intense, and had a strange grassy flavor, but it wasn't too bad at all. I expected something totally gross, but it was actually a legit drink. Slightly disappointed, I looked at the ingredients. Cola and plant extract. Hold on, cola as an ingredient? Did they just buy cola and mix it in? And plant extract could be anything from fruits to poisonous plants. What the hell? What does this even say the drink? Well, at least it tasted good. It was probably smart to just turn around and drive away. Well, she did say it took extra courage to just not fucking do this, because she's obviously the god of the mountain at the fucking random convenience store that's really trying to tell you not to go to the other town, really trying to get you to go to this town. Entering Fujiyoshi means death. Turn back. Perhaps that was what the loops were trying to tell me. Maybe I ought to listen. But, no, it's not really that easy because there's literally not an option that lets me do that. So, I had no real grounds for this. But if the cause of this strange phenomenon was somewhere in the village, perhaps I couldn't break out of the loop until I solved the mystery behind it. What would happen if I left then? Would I go on and live the rest of my days only to die and come back here? Would I return to youth after years of being old? That part didn't sound half bad, actually, but it was really something I could just accept so easily. This was just speculation, but what if I actually hadn't moved an inch from that mountain pass? Was everything from then on now and until death just an aforementioned fever dream? And dying again would just bring me back here? If that was how it was, everything I do with my life from this point onward would be meaningless. Maybe I really should move on only after taking care of whatever was binding me. Also, how could I have something so strange, unnatural, and incomprehensible, and to just return to the city? Oh, cool! We did get an entire list of things here. Okay, all right. So first things first, we're doing exactly the thing. We're turning back. Until I finished my drink, the thing that guided me was my good sense, otherwise known as opportunism. Man, what a weird experience that was. It'd make a good campfire story once I made it back to where I belonged. I pushed aside my sense and that something wasn't right. My anxiety and my fear straddled the seat of my bike. Well, there was another way to look at this. I could try and see whether ignoring it all and running away could actually work. After all, this might end up being the only way to solve the problem. Hopefully, drinking the drink didn't bind me here and the game forced me into doing it, so you can't, and your character will never think not to drink the stupid thing, but... I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the signal to the left, and connected it to the clutch. Away I went, starting with the left turn. Anyway, I go back to the mountain path. I had enough of this ride. I returned to civilization and eat some normal food, get some decent sleep, and live my boring everyday life. Just recognizing how precious these things were was more than enough for me. That made this trip all worth it. A dense mist drifted into view. Yeah, alright, I don't like that. I don't like that the game made you drink the drink to then lock you in the area because it's made with wild herbs and then give you the choice to leave. They should have committed to the bit and let you just fucking leave the town after and give you a choice about, like, if I redo the loop He's not going to remember, oh, yeah, I shouldn't drink this drink or thinking about it. They're just going to, no, I don't need to watch the fucking hit corner. Yeah, don't leave. I get it. Whatever. Yeah, hold up. Infiltration? No, I must be still at the... recall... Doesn't separate these. Oh, I guess one of these is going through the proper way and one of these is going through the other way. But if I do here... No, that's just the recall there. Okay. No, I don't want to... How do I go back to the... It'd still be part of introduction. Don't remember other... No, okay. So that's just the remember one. Okay, that's where the route finally chooses this one. Okay. Yeah, all right. Skip through this. Come on. All right. All right. Let's do the pass by Fujiyoshi to see what that gives. See if we can get any information if we actually go by the other town. As I finished my drink, the idea I had was barely different from just turning around and leaving. Maybe I could just pass by it. I was curious about what happened if I ignored Yasumizu, Fujiyoshi, and the clerk's warning and simply drove on past. Wait, why would anything happen? I just continued down the road, alright? Why did I feel so uneasy then? After thinking for a moment, I arrived at a mindset of eliminating whatever option seemed wrong. My guess was that this wouldn't take care of the root of the problem. But I was the type who wouldn't believe that until I tried it myself. I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the thing to the left, and connected the clutch. Alright, I went with a right turn, and then I just died again, right? The dense mountain path continued for a while. When I didn't feel like falling asleep, I was definitely becoming more and more exhausted, both mentally and physically. Even in this jacket, the force of the wind kept going. The wind going by was doing a number on my body, especially as I kept onward for over an hour. I did, however, see a sign above my head that said Fujiyoshi. As I decided, it just passed it by, never coming close to Kamafujiyoshi or Yasumizu. Now I just passed through the two mountains and reached the town I was told about. Perhaps I should have been more suspicious of the fact that I stopped acting on my heart after that. Maybe I was just so tired I couldn't even make such decisions. I could only remember noticing a strangely dense mist surrounding me. But that was when my brain lost all capacity. Okay, so both these routes were just death routes? That's it? You don't learn anything? You don't get to bring any information from a previous route in? I guess I'm just being disappointed because I had more expectations. No, I'm good. I don't need it. Just do everything the way it tells you. There's no other branches for you to fuck around with. Okay. Oh well. Oh well. I thought there was going to be a bit more to this. Or you just skip and then just go the way the game wants me to go. Okay. I was kind of hoping to be able to find other keys and other paths and see what could go on. Maybe we actually went back to Kamafujiyoshi and then found out more stuff there. Like, that's what I thought it was going to let us do. I thought we were going to go to not to the village. I thought we were going to go to Kamafujiyoshi and then be like, hey, so the village down there, tell me about their superstitions and history. And then maybe we could find out more. And maybe there'd be a, now that we know what possibly the true tale is, maybe we would find more information to be able to bring it in there for other things. Anyway. Also, like I said, I don't like that they made me buy this drink, and it's probably me drinking the drink that tied me into the game, which is why I can't leave now. So it is kind of fucking annoying that they force you to drink that. It's not like a decision where you can make where you actually can just leave and just forget about the whole thing and just make that like a shit end. Anyway, I'd return there. I'd face the tragedy again. Of course, I was curious about the looping phenomenon, but I did recall that I thought during my final moments it was something like if only I'd handled this better. And for better or worse, the weird looping phenomenon had given me a chance to do just that. If I went about it all a bit better, perhaps I could get a better ending. Hisako Mayamiya and Hudai Hashimoto, Kanzo Makashima, Yoshigitsu Oribe, Takumi Muro, the old man who cried wolf, Chikamochi Kamoshida, Rikaku Uematsu, Kaori Oribe, Kinosuke no Sato, Miko. Hell, even Yasunaga Oribe, Tai Yamakawa, and Haru Makashima were just victims of some strange superstition. But I, Haruki Fushashi, could not delude myself. I was no hero. I had no powers, no convictions. I was just a dilettante. My only motivation here was a sense of perfectionism. I was annoyed at how many mistakes I had made the first time around. Because that's also the thing. If I'm out of the game, what happens if I just fucking killed the wolves? Would I be subject to God's punishment? And who cares if I was? The game would just be over. The game would just be flat over. If I just walked up there, fucking just nuked Granny into the fucking ground. Because remember, in that first day, I sneak off and I see her going out to pray. Well, I just bash her fucking head in and go, all right, Granny's done. And then you go out and you kill the other guy too. Like, all right, cool. I just got rid of both wolves. We're good to go. That would be cool to have that as like a fake ending too. And then I get killed by the corruption and it goes, nope, that's not the ending we wanted for you. Plus, there was a certain attraction I felt towards the unknown. It was the urge foundational to my being, and I'd be risking my life on its behalf. I wasn't about to pretend I was acting for the sake of others here. Although, Kemi is kind of cute. Though she hated her childhood home, it remained part of who she was, and I wanted to keep that from being tarnished with blood. That motive was perverse, forceful, selfish, lustful, and filthy, and I couldn't let myself forget any of that. I remembered the names of those I'd meet, and what I had to do. I turned the key, opened the throttle, pushed the signal to the left, and connected the clutch. Away I went, starting with a right turn. You'll find an overpass soon enough. Cross it when you've come to a fork next to a giant boulder. Turn right and head straight. I quickly came across it. I could clearly remember this overpass. The large boulder wasn't new to me either. Also, you should ask Kemi if that convenience store is actually there. But I wouldn't take that route this time. I just kept on driving, not lowering my speed for a moment. Full speed ahead. Although I'm pretty sure the lady who works out there is the spirit of the god of the mountain. And that's why when she goes into the back room, she suddenly has everything we asked for. Because it's fucking magic. Also why she's pissed we're asking a god for help, and it's like, fuck you. But then also says turning back is its own courage, which I thought was going to be an interesting thing. Because I thought that meant we could escape, but then we just got locked in. So I thought that was like the god saying, you could actually just leave if you want. Anyway, I drove on the winding mountain path. Strangely enough, my fatigue, though present, wasn't too bad, and my head was perfectly clear. I knew which route to take, even looking at my copy of the map. Or maybe I had driven through here before. Perhaps this wasn't the first choice I'd made, but one of many. I couldn't be sure, and since my memories were so incomplete, nothing was certain. Still, they'd be an asset in the fight ahead. I wasn't going into this unarmed. I could no longer see the moon. If those memories held true, the rain would begin soon. She's God, super God. End of the line. You know what I mean, right? You set the upload streaming limit alert. Oh, message to on, didn't you? This is it, meaning you can only upload videos reaching up to this chapter. Well, you can actually go up to the choice that pops up after this, so prepare for your goodbyes. Yeah, no, I'm streaming it all. I don't give a fuck. I'm streaming it all. So basically, they just want you to go through the first half of. But why? Why is there this here? We already know who the wolves are. Okay, so if the way this story went is we never found out who the wolves were, and we had to restart, and then using information we got from different lines where we tried changing things and different people ended up dying, then maybe we could use the information that we had from a line where maybe we died somehow each time, and we never truly found out who the wolves were. We only had like thoughts like, okay, certain people survive each time, but no one ever was able to tell if we actually hung a wolf. So we were all just kind of like, who the fuck knows? Like maybe that could have been interesting, where we run through the story multiple times, but considering no one ever gets hung because people kept getting murdered, the person who has the power to tell if we hung a wolf or not never could actually use their power. So we never knew if we really got rid of wolves or not. So we could have tried like multiple things. Maybe each time it leads to our death, and then we have to actually start back from the beginning, not from a different choice. Or if like the choice branch starts differently. So eventually we could use all the knowledge that we had to then try to figure out who the wolf was. And that maybe where the game would say, stop streaming here. And then it was like, oh, okay, because now we technically have all the information, and the game just doesn't want us to reveal who the wolves are for other people. But it already did tell us everything. So the only thing it's not letting us stream or wouldn't want us to stream would just be how the story reveals that. Like it feels like a game where what would the point of putting that in there be, unless it was like some other mystery you're trying to hide. So assumably there is another mystery at the end of this. Who the fuck knows? But yeah, I'm just gonna stream it all anyway. It doesn't matter. I drove in darkness, but I could still make a sign above me. I'll just put like a marker or something in the title of the videos. So what I'll do is I'll stream up to this choice where the game doesn't want me to. This is where I'll actually end stream for the day. And then the next time I stream this, I'll just make sure to put a marker in the title of each stream saying, mentioning something. I drove in darkness, but I could still make out a sign above me. The road wasn't wide, but I decelerated and somehow managed a U-turn. There were no other cars, so no one would complain. I returned and looked at the sign. It said that driving ahead would lead me to Kachihira, while by turning right I'd find myself in Fudeyoshi. Finally. It was already past midnight, but actually earlier than I thought. A 30-minute drive at this point would lead me to Fujiyoshi, or rather, Kama Fujiyoshi, the place that wasn't too popular among Yasumizu's people. Okay, so we're not allowed to make this choice until we have more information? Why? Why wouldn't we be able to just go unless there's something would kill us if we didn't? Whatever. All right, I only have one option. Oh, a house. My time estimate was more or less right. After 30 or so minutes, I began seeing houses between the hills and the trees. I eventually left the forest and could see as well as anyone could in the middle of the night. It was already raining, and I knew it could only get worse. I had to do something before that happened. Anyway, so like I said, we're going to leave off at this choice. When I upload the streams to YouTube, also when I start the next stream, the next time I stream this, I'll put something in the title. Just so that I remember, I can put the limit there. At the end of this stream, we just read the warning where it said whatever, but I plan on streaming it all and I plan on uploading it all. If I get a message to take it down, I'll take it down. It doesn't really matter, but I'm not going to stop streaming this halfway through. Like, fuck that. Yes, every single person who's been watching me this entire time, go buy the game yourselves. I mean, if you want to, you can, and stop watching, but I'll stream more anyway. Anyway, thank you all for watching. This was just a bit of a Sunday stream. If I do stream this again, it will be on maybe a Thursday or another Sunday, or maybe I'll stream it during the day and not my normal streaming hours. Anyway, have a good night, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow for Chrono Trigger, which I had not played in 15 years and don't remember much of. I mean, I remember the characters, but I don't remember much of what happens within there to link all the things together, or really some other stuff. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.